So, with that, I think I've hit all the stuff we need to cover. So we're going to start off with the Hunt County, and we're going to start off with Clay Rankin. By the way, candidates, you can stand up here, you can do whatever you want to do. I'll give you the microphone. So, and then after Clay, we're going to have Becky, and then Kelly. All right? Clay, here you go.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay, or should I use the mic? Okay, got it. Thank you, guys. My name is Clay Rankin. I'm running for Justice of the Peace, Hunt County, Precinct 4. I was unaware that we weren't supposed to talk about economic development. I think everybody has a part to play in it within this community. And it's only as a community that the economic stability, development, and growth is going to occur. Let me get my notes back up. Judges working within the legal system, I believe, are crucial to the community's economic success. Creating a safe and secure environment is essential to economic development, stability, and growth. Political stability is the key to economic success for any community. It's the key locally, nationally, and worldwide. The Texas Constitution and laws are well designed to ensure political stability, creating a safe, secure, and free environment, encouraging creative economic development and investment. I think the investment is the largest key. I will do my duty as Justice of the Peace to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and the state of Texas, thereby helping to create a safe, secure, and free environment needed for positive economic prosperity. Thank you.
Well, there you go. A politician only takes a minute. That's awesome. All right, next up, Becky Landrum, and Kelly is coming in after that. Come on up, Becky.
Hello, I'm Becky Landrum, and I'm the Hunt County Clerk. The County Clerk's office plays an important role in our community, serving and assisting citizens in their vital record needs and recording important judicial records, as well as brands and property deeds. The Clerk's office is very involved in the archival of older documents and continues to prioritize the preservation, digitization, and safekeeping of those documents. I believe that keeping the Clerk's office running with stable operating procedures will assist the public with all of the needs they may have, as well as keeping detailed, accurate records and reports for our surveyors, title companies, and landmen that we interact with on a daily basis. The duties of this office also include keeping detailed, accurate recordings of Commissioners Court, Bail Bond Board, and Juvenile Board meetings. So there are many documents that the public could request or access from this office in order to make informed decisions about projected growth and development. My plans for improvement to the county basically start with my office by offering multiple training and education opportunities for our staff that will help to facilitate our person-to-person care. Having a well-trained clerk is key to keeping up with all the state and local changes that impact everyone. I will also continue to improve our record-keeping procedures for the community with improved and updated software programs, offering more records online, therefore offering the most efficient services for the community. In the 8.5 years that I have worked in this office, I have witnessed the rapid growth of Hunt County and understand the need for improved functionality for the record-keeping process. As the county clerk, it is my full intention to offer honesty, experience, and reliability to the constituents, extending the best customer service to the entirety of Hunt County, ensuring that their records are maintained in a secure environment, safely archived for the future. I will plan my continuance with the next term, keeping my office with minimal disruption to the judges, attorneys, law enforcement, employees, and public. Thank you for your attention.
Well done. All right, next up is Kelly, and then we're going to have David Monroe, and after that will be Todd Mcmahon.
No, I'm gonna get up there.
All right.
Paul, I didn't check in with you, David Mcnabb.
All right. You registered and confirmed, so you're good.
Hello, everyone. I had this nice little long speech made out, but since it doesn't always, the whole thing don't cover economic development, I'll just talk about what I was gonna do. So my name's Kelly Weiniger, and I currently work for Hunt County Justice of the Peace Precinct 4 as Judge Mcnabb's Chief Clerk. I'm seeking the position of Hunt County Clerk. I want to be your next Hunt County Clerk. As an elected official, I want to be available not only Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, but 7 days a week, anytime a taxpayer may have a question. I will be more than happy to give my cell phone number to anyone that would like to have it. I would like you to know that I fully support economic development in Hunt County. I am a member of the Greenville Chamber of Commerce and will help and support any business that may need my office's assistance. I will be there to help in any way. Thank you.
All right, Brother Todd. And after that would be David Mcnabb. Oh, sorry, David Monroe. Sorry, brother.
No problem.
I'm glad you paid attention to the order.
Yeah. My name's Dave Monroe. I'm running for Hunt County Commissioner Precinct 2. My wife and I have been married 28 years. We've lived in Precinct 2 for 22 years. We've raised both our children in Cattle Mill School District. I have 30 years of construction knowledge. My mind went blank. I was nervous up here. Anyways, if I'm elected to commissioner, what I think needs to happen is there's going to be an open line of communication, not only between the commissioner and the citizens, but between the foreman and the citizens. We're going to get these roads back to acceptable condition. And then number two, I'm going to support, not that I'm going to give an open checkbook to the departments, but support the safety, which being if the sheriff's department, the fire departments, the EMS departments come to the commissioner's court needing resources, if they can justify that to me and that it's going to benefit the majority of the citizens, then I'm going to vote yes for that. Thank you for your support and your vote on March the 1st. Thank you.
Well, first, thanks to each one of you that are here to listen to what we have to say, no matter how much sense it makes or doesn't make. So I'm Todd Mcmahon. I'm past commissioner of Precinct 2. And as a former commissioner, all of my past voting record, while a member of the Commissioner's Court, is public record. And I think that record of pursuing fruitful public-private partnerships is pretty transparent. Try saying that 3 times fast. I believe in partnering with private enterprises when there's a clear benefit or benefits for the citizens of Hunt County. And to me, the definition of a good public-private partnership is one where the private sector is willing to become a contributing member of the community by bringing in good jobs and showing a desire and willingness to hang in there for the long term and indeed become a valued member of the community. Another benefit to the residential taxpayer should be that as the business tax base grows, residential rates should go down. And this has the effect of making Hunt County an even more desirable place to live, to work, and to raise a family. If I'm elected, I fully intend to continue to pursue the same philosophy, and I will continue to be a cheerleader for the county I love and call my own. Thank you all.
All right, David Mcnabb, and after that would be Clyde Bostic, starting off the state house district.
I think the present commissioner is here, Randy Spade.
Go ahead.
First, I need to start with, it was erroneously reported that I was a Democrat running for Hunt County Commissioner. The first election that I voted in was 1971, and I voted Republican then. And so for the last 51 years, I have been a Republican. So now that we have that straight, I'm David Mcnabb. I'm running for County Commissioner Precinct 2. And I have some ideas for this position that would improve it for the citizens, improve the roads, because right now roads are the biggest issue in this part of the county. And I have plans to take care of all of that right now. I had something written up, and economic development is not part of it, but anyway, I've lived in Hunt County for 41 years. I've been a public servant for almost 34 years. 12 of those are as Justice of the Peace in Precinct 4. And I served with the Greenville Fire Department and ended my career as a lieutenant after 22 years there. There are 3 firemen that are here, I believe, and we make good candidates, I think. So Hunt County is changing dynamically in population as well as in new businesses. And with the population growth, we need new industries to come into this county. And I would work hard as a commissioner to get those businesses. Hunt County's picture in people's eyes is changing now. So a lot of changes are in the future, and I feel that a county commissioner has to have foresight to be able to adapt and change things through voting and making the right decisions for the people. And I pledge I will vote appropriately in that regard for our county, and foresight for the future and growth is what I give to you as Hunt County Commissioner Precinct 2. Thank you.
All right, we're about to kick off the state side now. This is going to be Clyde Bostic. After that's going to be Jonathan Cox, then Matt Rosami, and then Angelo Paxton. So y'all get 4 minutes.
All right. Well, I want to start off by saying my name is Reverend Clyde Bostic. I am not a politician. This is new to me. This whole thing is new to me. It's a really interesting experience. My background, I'm a 14-year combat veteran. And so in service, I was in the chaplaincy. That's what I've done my entire adult life. After leaving the service, I worked at Hunt County Sheriff's Office for about a year. And I like to tell everybody, I left the sheriff's office because I recognized that I don't like getting punched in the nose as much as I used to. And so there was need for a change. And actually, I think, God made that happen. I was falsely diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which encouraged me to leave service. And during that time period, I spent a lot more time back in church. And a miracle happened, no cancer. And so after that, I said, you know what, I'm going to get back to God. I'm going to get back into my roots. And I started working as a children's, youth, and family life director in Quinlan, Texas, at the Methodist church there. They had 0 kids, 0 youth. The target audience that we were trying to get to was between 0, which is the newborn, and 33 years of age. Within 3 months' time, we had 75 youth. And then from there, I was promoted, and we transitioned into the flag pastor within the Methodist Conference. And they moved me to Tyra and Sulphur Bluff. Once I was there at Tyra and Sulphur Bluff, I completed my licensing for ministry, and I was again promoted to an associate pastor. And I was moved to Pecan Gap and Ladonia. Pecan Gap and Ladonia's numbers increased, and so I was promoted again to senior pastor, where I was now moved to Caddo Mills. So I'm getting closer and closer, getting back home. So Caddo is not Quinlan, well, that's where I was raised, but it is close enough. And so I tell you all of this because I think it's important for you to understand I am not an economist. I'm not a subject matter expert on that topic. But what I can do is I can work with those who are. And hopefully, all our county judges are, and our commissioners are, because they're the ones who balance our books and plan everything for us, right? Get those businesses started. And so I think it's important that we understand that, and your policy should start here at home. You should have a state representative that is willing to work with those individuals, talk with them on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, and come up with a plan of action to bring businesses back home. Now, one of the ways we do that is we make sure that we get together and we try to write some legislation that says that there is no mandates closing our businesses here, closing our churches here. We have to start with that. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can possibly do. Okay? So, with that being said, I believe that a legislator is a part of a team. There is no me, look what I've done. Okay? There's 149 other people that like to pass laws. And they make all these promises. I make no promises to anybody. Because the moment you start doing that, you start lying. Okay? I will work hard to accomplish all the goals that I have. And that's all I can do. That's all I can promise you. Okay, now with that being said, I'm gonna jump off this stage because I'm starting to get winded. Okay, so I'm actually recovering from COVID right now. I've had COVID for the last 2 weeks, and so it's just really wore me down. So with that being said, thank you. I'm very grateful to be here. God bless you, and good luck to every single one of you in your races.
All right, Jonathan and Matt Rosami and then Angelo Paxton.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. I understand that you and your colleagues understand what Hunt County needs to grow and prosper more than anyone else. These decisions need to be made in Hunt County and not in Austin. I support local control. I believe my role is to work with you, understand your needs, and then work tirelessly on your behalf in Austin. Now, before addressing Hunt County specifically, I support reauthorizing Chapter 313. While there are concerns with the statute, I believe they can be worked out. Allowing school districts to enter into value limitation agreements with economic development prospects is, on balance, an effective economic development tool that benefits all parties concerned. Now, as you already know, Hunt County's population has grown 20% since 2010. While the county as a whole has grown, a significant portion of this growth has occurred in western Hunt County along the I-30 corridor. With people comes more housing and new businesses, which strains infrastructure. Financing the newly required infrastructure is often the concern. I wholeheartedly support the reconstruction of Interstate 30 to a 6-lane highway from Rockwall County through Greenville. Hunt County has done its part by contributing to the overall design cost. While this project is on TxDOT's priority list, if elected, I'll do everything I can to move this project to completion. I believe Greenville was farsighted when its voters authorized GEUS to provide cable and internet access almost 20 years ago. Broadband access to smaller communities and the rural portions of Hunt County is essential to their economic development. While the recently enacted Texas Broadband Act is a start, it takes money to build infrastructure. Government, including the Texas legislature, must provide the seed capital required to build the broadband infrastructure needed to reach the less densely populated portions of Hunt County. Without government support, I do not believe private capital will be available for these efforts. As the provider of water and sewer services to western portions of Hunt County, Greenville's water and sewer capacity is strained. One possible solution would be to create a regional or county authority similar to the North Texas Municipal Water District. This authority would be responsible for, among other things, constructing and operating water and sewer facilities within Hunt County. I'm committed to working with Hunt County and Greenville to investigate and create a viable solution. Now, moving short-haul freight through Greenville at 5 miles per hour is neither efficient nor an effective selling tool to prospective companies. I support NETEC's efforts to obtain an initial $20 million grant from TxDOT for beginning the process of repairing and upgrading its rails and railway bed infrastructure. Improving railway border connection should not come at the expense of providing grant funding to rural rail districts. Finally, the formula allotment weights, which are used by the Texas Education Agency to determine school funding, were last updated almost 30 years ago. A lot has changed since the 1980s, and we know more now than we do then. I support legislation to update these weights. A quality education is a factor in economic development. My thanks to the Greenville Chamber for organizing this event. I appreciate your attention and look forward to any questions you might have.
Next up, Matt Rosami.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Matt Rosami. I'm from Plano, Texas. I'm an eye surgeon, and before you ask me, I do not do LASIK or cataract surgery. I do retina surgery, so I hope to God I never have to see any of you folk in my clinic. Okay. You know, one of my platforms is to grow the Republican Party by reaching out to independents, minorities, and young people. And I think economic development is a great topic to talk about that. You know, let me tell you about myself. You know, after medical training, you know, I trained all over the country. I was at the Cleveland VA where we served the veterans, and had my fellowship in retina surgery in McAllen, Texas. And after my training, I decided to open up my own practice. And a lot of people told me, you know, that doesn't happen these days. You know, doctors just have to go work for other people. You gotta work for a big hospital system. You don't know anything about business. They didn't teach you anything. And I said, well, you know what? If I can figure out eye surgery, I can figure out how to run a business. So I did it. You know, I went to the bank, got the SBA loan, you know, set up payroll, set up accounting, hired my own staff. You know, hiring employees is very tough. It's something a lot of us are dealing with right now. But you know, this was all just a very rewarding experience. And I think that, you know, this is just something that we need to make it easier for business owners. Because I get it. I understand how tough it is. And you know, specifically here in Hunt County, you know, there's a lot of issues with the state imposing these unfunded mandates on the county. And it's just the people who go to Austin, they just don't get it. Like, they don't understand like what this area is different than maybe some of the urban areas we're living with. And they pass these things that just sound good on paper, but they don't even think about where the money is gonna come from, whose backs it's gonna end up breaking. For funding for stuff that doesn't even apply to this area. Now about me personally, how I wanna give back here is if I were to be elected, I wanna be in touch with people. You know, I'm gonna open up a satellite office here so I can hear your concerns, understand what is the issues that affect you, so that way it's not gonna be dictated by Austin and end up putting an unburdensome on here in our county. Thanks for bringing me out here. You know, I'm pretty nervous being up here, and I'm more comfortable cutting into people's eyes than talking to people about this. But again, I appreciate your vote and support. My name is Dr. Matt Rosami. Thank you.
All right, next up, we got Ms. Angelo Paxton. Then we're going to get into the U.S. Congress Sandeep, Dr. Shelby, then Keith, and then Suzanne. Got it?
I got it. Hi, I am Texas Senator Angelo Paxton. I serve the District of Senate District 8, which previously was mainly contained in Collin County, a little bit of Dallas County, but I'm thrilled that it is now expanded to include all of Hunt County and all of Rains County as well. So some of you may recognize my last name. Part of that maybe is because I've been serving in the Texas Senate for the last 4 years. Some of you may know that the last name Paxton is shared by the Attorney General. I get that a lot. Some people, sometimes they ask me, you know, am I his daughter? I really like those people. No, I'm his wife. So, but we've been married for 36 years, 4 kids, 1 grandchild, and another one on the way. He was a student body president at Baylor when I met him. Now he's the Attorney General. I think I did a good job. So, thanks for having me here today. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my background. I was a teacher. I'm the first teacher elected to the Senate in over 20 years. And I feel like that's one of the most important things that we have to pay attention to in our state. I'm thrilled to serve over the last 4 years on the committees for education and higher ed, business and commerce, and local government. So I'm well situated to pay attention to the things that we need to pay attention to in Hunt County. My goal economically for Hunt County is that not just the whole state, but the whole world knows that Hunt County is open for business. That's what we want. And you're so well situated already. I believe that the role of state government kind of falls into 4 lanes. Infrastructure, electricity, broadband, water. You know what those things are, roads. And you're already working ahead of the curve to make sure that you're ready to deal with what is coming this way. Education. We know how critical it is to have a strong education system for our kids. That's our workforce. That's our workforce, and it's our future. We have to be paying attention to public safety and health. You've got a great regional health center here. You've got great police and fire, but we need to make sure you have the support that you need. And of course, you've got to have the courts to address a growing population. I've lived in McKinney for the last 20 plus years. I've been living in a growing population. I think that Greenville and Hunt County in general is going to follow this trajectory, but even faster at the pace. And I'm so proud and impressed of what I already see here. You know, I'm running again because I want to keep our future free. I want to keep our future free. And I know that it takes limited government and discipline to do that. I also know that I'm not the expert on Hunt County. You are. It's my job to work for you and to listen to you. And so that is my motto is to listen, learn, and lead. And as I close up, I really just want to point out, I brought my staff with me today because I want to meet you. I want you to see their names and faces. But this is Della Bryant, who's my district director. This is Megan Pooley. She's coming on with us. She's had great experience in Representative Sanford's office for many years. Thrilled to have her with constituent services. You know, the stuff that's in the headlines is all the legislative stuff. But the bread and butter of what we do is constituent services. And I promise I will listen, I will learn, and I will lead for you in the Texas Senate. I would be so honored to have your vote on March 1st. My birthday's Valentine's Day. That's when early voting starts. It'd be a great birthday gift, just saying. And anyway, but thank you for having me today, and God bless you, and God bless Texas. Appreciate it.
All right, so now we're getting into the U.S., the Congress side, so we need,
Any questions, Paul? Does people have any questions on their cards or their table?
Yeah, just keep those up there, and then when we get done with us, he'll go around and get all of them off your tables.
Give them now if they want.
All right, Sandeep, and then Doc Shelby, and then Keith and Suzanne.
Thank you.
My name is Sandeep Shivasa. I'm running for US Congress District 3, and I'm a first generation immigrant from India, and I live in Plano. And the reason for come into the politics is we are contributing in many ways to this country. So we thought, okay, this is also our civic duty to come into politics and help that country to go. So I'll talk about this straight away on the topic. As we see, the economy of Hunt County is increasing and it's growing. Therefore, this is the time to maintain its growth. And for certain things we have to do, like healthcare is a big issue in the Hunt County and in the rural part. And we have seen like almost 20 to 30% people are uninsured in the Hunt County. So healthcare access directly impacts like economic productivity also. If people are not well, they cannot go for work, and businesses can shut down, and we have seen in the pandemic so much issues and so much problems. So healthcare access ensures the security for the people, and most likely they will come to their job and work more. So I specifically hope to sponsor and work on the bills in US Congress for healthcare, and to give the healthcare access to all, so that corporations and people can work in the healthcare. And another big problem which I have personally seen in the Hunt County, because since last 2 years, I have opened my businesses in Rockwall and in Hunt County. And the issues which we face in the beginning, like internet, we have to put a dish to get the internet in this era. I was shocked. So a broadband internet access is very important, not only for the people, it is important for the businesses also, for the hospitals also, for the small businesses also. Because these days we have seen like work from home and so many things are like, that's the reason people don't want to move into the rural county to open the businesses. So once we fix, I will sponsor the infrastructure bill, which will have the broadband as well as growth in roads and other things. And that's how we can slowly repair these kind of problem, and then we'll see the businesses will start coming. And as a US congressman, I will working with the big corporations to come to the rural areas and open the businesses and provide employment to the rural areas. And because I am doing that by myself. I have from Rockwall County to Hunt County, I have 100+ employees. I have given jobs to 100+ people in this county also. As well as I'm a real estate agent also. So I bring more people to this area to open their offices and other things. I moved a couple of big builders from Harry Hines to this site. They opened their businesses in Greenville. So people, because that's how I'm doing last 2 years, educating people know these are the places where people need help, people need job, and open your businesses. And so definitely we have to work on the infrastructure, broadband, healthcare, and other things. And I can promise with my experience, with my education, I worked almost 20 years in corporate with big corporations. I used to have 300-400 people reporting to me. So I have that kind of experience as a small business owner experience. And I born in a political family in India. So I know the politics also. And my ultimate goal is in this country to, I have taken a lot of things from this country. I want to give it back to the people. And that is why I need your support. And just trust us. Everybody has trusted our Indian people, making them CEO and other things in big corporations. Trust in the politics also. You will see the difference because I'm not the typical politician. I work on the growth. Thank you very much.
All right, Dr. Shelby's up next, then we'll have Keesel, Suzanne Harp, and then I made a mistake. We'll have one more at the end there that I messed up on.
Awesome.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Doc Shelby, and I'm running to represent every man, woman, and child in the 3rd Congressional District of Texas. I'm also proud to say that I am a 30-year resident of Hunt County, okay? I started out 9 months ago in the 4th Congressional District. After the redistricting came, well, then I came back to the 3rd Congressional District. But I did not change my pillars. When I first cranked this thing up, I said I had two goals. One was how can I affect the most people with my campaign? And number 2 is how was I going to be able to win in Texas? Okay? I came up with 3 pillars: stabilizing and strengthening the rural healthcare system, stimulating the economy, and a sensible immigration plan. And I'll tell you here in a minute how that goes into your economy. The rural health care has been eroded for years. So now we need to address this issue because we're growing, but we still have a rural infrastructure, okay? I support Medicaid and Medicare expansion simply because there's already an infrastructure there. All we have to do is fix it to where they pay their bills, 100%. Then we can get our Texans insured, because whether you know it or not, we pay for those people that are uninsured. The hospitals work on a profit basis, and they need their money. With the erosion of our health care and our emergency services, the people on our outer edges, they need those services. Those are essential services. And as soon as they start showing a profit, well, then we can expand. We can expand those services out. Quinlan, more hospital beds. Commerce, more hospital beds. These are economic developments that we need for Texas, period. Not just Hunt County, but for Texas. A sensible immigration plan. We have people in place right now, I think they call them headhunters, to where we put people in jobs, match employees and employers. We have professionals on the border. We need to put people to take care of the paperwork so we can put them people in places. Professional truck drivers on the border, let's bring them up here so we can put them to work. Let our companies grow. The internet, broadband, which is a great subject to talk about. Telemedicine for our senior citizens out in the rural areas. The small businesses which we have forgotten about. They will have access to a global market. Whenever a small community like Wolf City, they want to entertain a corporation, mother company, that infrastructure is there because everything operates around, excuse me, everything operates around the internet services. We are growing, but we must realize that we still have a rural infrastructure. In the new infrastructure bill that we have just passed, which I would have voted for in its entirety, because we need to start spending money in the United States. We need bridges, roads, and whether, this is one thing about this campaign. The three pillars that I operate on, there's no red dots and there's no blue dots. These are issues that need to be addressed. I am Doc Shelby, and let me back up. I know that these three issues are important to me, but I will be holding town hall meetings in order to see what your issues are, because that's what a representative does. He finds out what direction that you want to go in, and he gets you from point A to point B. That's what Doc Shelby will do if you let him represent you. My name is Doc Shelby, and I want to represent you in the 3rd Congressional District. You can go to my website. I'll be sticking around for any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
All right, we had Keith, and then Suzanne. Then after that, I forgot to put Mr. Straight on there. He's going to come in for 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the county.
Well, good afternoon, folks. My name is Keith Self. I was the county judge in Collin County for the explosive years from 2007 through 2018. I could talk ad nauseum about local and state issues, but I'm going to stick to the federal issues today, which are going to revolve around transportation, road, rail, air, and broadband, as we've talked. As an executive board member of the COG, the North Central Texas Council of Governments, along with John Horn for years and years, we saw the federal impact in the COG as we dealt with regional issues. I will tell you that the Build Back Better bill that just passed has a disastrous memo already been written by the Federal Highway Administration. It says that they are going to red flag federal dollars for expansion of highways. That impacts all of CD3 to include Hunt County, because we need more federal dollars for our highways in CD3. That's something we're going to have to take care of. Now, it's a memo out of the Federal Highway Administration, but often those things carry the sanction of law, and Congress is going to have to address it. If we don't, Dallas and Tarrant County will continue to soak up a vast majority of the federal dollars, even though TxDOT and the COG manage them. Air. I will tell you, you've got a fabulous airport here. I know that L3 does most of the work on it, but as you grow, those 11,000 foot runways are probably going to need to go to the model that is around the world. The military, i.e. L3, defense contractor controls one side, the civilians control the other side, and you share the runways. But I will tell you, you've got another opportunity here in Hunt County that is rare. As you know, I-30 goes between I-20 and I-40, which are the two main east-west interstates across the United States. You have two places where an interstate and a Class A rail line, KCS in this case, intersect near an airport. One is near Majors Field, here in Greenville. One is the Caddo Mills Airfield. Now, the Greenville Majors Field obviously will have more problems because they've got L3 there. The Caddo Mills Airport would obviously need more runway because they've only got about 4,000 feet on their runways. But I will tell you, that's two opportunities that I recommend Hunt County start looking at. A multimodal facility brings a lot of jobs and it brings a lot of commerce through Hunt County. And because you connect I-20 and I-40, I recommend that we start looking at that now, and that's something that you will need federal help to do. Broadband's already been talked about, but y'all have another rare opportunity. People like to work remotely in high-paying jobs and live in a country setting. This broadband idea that you've already heard several people talk about is important. We have got to help you get broadband across this county. You've also got a higher education facility here in Hunt County. That's a distinct advantage. If you can work with commerce to start filling the jobs that you need, educating people to fill those jobs, I will tell you in Collin County, Collin College started a nursing program because we have a shortage of nurses. It works. Work with your higher education center in commerce to start filling the jobs that you need. And I'll mention one more and then I'll sit down. Businesses need a stable legal environment, particularly big businesses that are going to come here. And you're going to start to attract large businesses beyond L3. So you need to make sure that your legal, both your DA and your court system are stable with the rule of law, because businesses need the rule of law so they have a stable legal environment to operate in. There are some tremendous opportunities here in Hunt County. You have a lot of advantages, both because you're rural and because you're close to the urban centers. Let's start taking advantage of that so that we can develop, use economic development in Hunt County to your advantage, not to your disadvantage. Thank you very much. I'm Keith Self.
Good afternoon. How is everybody today? You guys look fabulous. So my name is Suzanne Harp, running for U.S. Congressional District 3. I am so happy that Hunt County is a part of us now, in being in District 3. When I look at Hunt County, I see tremendous opportunity. And I'm going to geek out on you for a little bit. My background right now, I work for an investment bank. We do mergers and acquisitions. This year we sold 173 companies. And as I was doing the research on Hunt County, I noticed you guys do a lot of fabrication, a lot of manufacturing. That happens to be right up our wheelhouse. And then I started to notice that you have an absolute fabulous STEM program with your high school. So I just start to salivate and I start to see opportunity after opportunity. So I want to talk about a couple different things that haven't been mentioned today. So from a federal level, what I see when I'm in the business world, I have a big concern about some capital gain taxes. And why am I concerned about that? Because it really prohibits new innovation. It prohibits people from wanting to come to the district to build. So right now, with the Build Back Better and also the other infrastructure bill and the COVID relief bill, Biden has done some really tremendous damage to us. He wants to raise cap gains from 22.2 or 22.8 to 28.8. He also wants to put a tax on your business once you sell it. I'm sorry, if you were to pass away, your heirs would have to pay it instead of when they sell it. Let me restate that. Why is that important? It kills generational wealth. Absolutely kills it. So I am all for the broadband, I'm all for the road system, and yes, we can get federal dollars appropriated to that to bring back to the county. But if we don't start handling the damage that Biden has already done, it's gonna cut our legs out from underneath us. So a couple of more things. When we're talking about inflation, right now it's at a 7% inflation. That doesn't really include everything, because if I were to bundle it all together, we could be possibly at like 14%. But we have not seen inflation like that since the Jimmy Carter era. So we can talk about building business and bringing business here, but if a business owner cannot count on what their insurance is gonna be, what the product's gonna be, what the turn times are gonna be on their products, they're not gonna build in Hunt County. So those are the things that we need to talk about from as far as a business perspective. So just a little bit more about me, and so why does Suzanne know this kind of stuff? The last company I worked for was a data tech startup company. I ran side by side with a gentleman from India, came to this country. He was here for 12 years and couldn't get his company off the ground. There were some cultural issues, but then there was also some bad branding. So after doing some real good discovery on what his key opportunities are, I said, you know what, you really do data well. You do data so well, and I promise you the Fortune 100 companies, they have a data problem. The mid-markets have a data problem. So he took this company from 0 revenue to 3 to 5 million. He's doing amazing right now, all with the concept of where are the opportunities? So that's, let me bridge this over to legislation and being a legislator for you in Washington. With you guys, your ears to the ground, you know what you need here in Hunt County. I know people have already said that. But then having somebody run right alongside you that has grown business before and can point out where the opportunities are for you, that's where the real growth will be, I believe, for Hunt County. But we have a couple of problems we need to talk about besides just inflation. So the Biden administration has started to put some real, I guess let's call it undue burdens with all of the COVID mandates, and they're just keeping them going and keeping them going. Well, today the Johns Hopkins Institute put out a brand new study that says that all of the COVID shutdowns would only affect the death rate by 0.2%. So let that sink in. How much damage was done by all the lockdowns? A tremendous amount. So what I think we need to do on a federal level is obviously make sure that never happens again. So the Johns Hopkins research says right now, we need to be proactive and think of what can we do in the next pandemic. I guess they're already predicting it, right? It's kind of doom and gloom, I know. But if we can predict it, we can prevent it. So that is my, from a federal perspective and knowing how much it's hurt our business right now with being shut down, I think if we can prevent another shutdown from a federal level, you will, and get the federal government out of your back pockets, Hunt County will be allowed to grow. So again, I see a tremendous amount of opportunity here, right? So I want to leave you with one last thing that my kids said, please tell the story. When they were growing up, I stepped out from the workplace to homeschool my kids. And I said, I want you to dream big. And no matter what, I'm going to help you to get there. So by the time Blake was a senior in high school, he was flying gliders. Haley, by the time she was 16, was dancing with the Washington Ballet. And now Blake is the youngest chief of staff for Madison Cawthorn. I'm not anything special, I promise you. But what I said to them, like I'm going to say to you, is dream big. And run with the good people who can get you there. Suzanne Harp for CD3.
Suzanne. All right, I have one more call for y'all to, now that you've heard everybody speak, we got Randy coming up because I made a mistake, forgot to put him on the list here. But if y'all could, one more call, if y'all could fill out any questions on the 3x5 cards, now that everybody has spoke from county down, and put those on there and just raise them up for Greg. And then he has a couple of minutes and I'm gonna make a few announcements and I'll take a look at those and we'll get some questions out. All right?
Well, they always say the best for last, but I don't know if that's the case here. I'm one of these guys that kind of fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm running out of flying room. So anyway, I'm Randy Strait, and I'm running for re-election for Commissioner Precinct 2. I accepted the challenge when I was elected 3 years ago. We had a pretty tough challenge. These roads have gotten in pretty bad shape. Weather, money, mainly. And we've come a long ways. We got a long way to go. They're not near where they need to be. But I'm out there with my guys every day working. I'm at the shop every morning at 7 o'clock with them. We line out our day, and that's where we go. I do whatever I have to do, and I love what I do. I love serving people, and I love helping, and I love to work. I know that sounds crazy, but I do like to work. It don't bother me. I'm nervous right now. I'm not much of a speaker. I'm a doer. But anyway, we've come a long way since I came in. We had a $650,000 material budget when I came in. And today, with working with the court, with the judge, and we're up to $1.2 million material budget. That's a lot of money, but just not near enough to do what we need to do to these roads. These roads, you know, they just need to be rehabbed all the way back down. That takes a lot of money to do that. So I'm trying to stretch out materials on these roads to make them drivable until we can someday get the money to go out there and rehab these roads all the way they need to be. So it's tough go, but I like challenges. So anyway, with that being said, I appreciate y'all being here today. And my name's Randy Strait, running for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Well, I have to say, I've done a few of these mediating things before, and I have to say, I've never seen one go on time and actually early. So we're gonna have more time for Q&A. So once again, get y'all's cards to Greg that's walking around there. If you have, I've got a few questions here. Real quick, I want to talk to y'all about Hunt County EDA. I'm going to spend a couple minutes. If y'all haven't registered for Hunt County EDA, so you can get emails of our events and things like that, all it is just
Use the mic.
yeah. Oh, use the mic. All right. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, Kevin. I'm so used to y'all telling me I'm too dang loud. All right. How's that? All right. Okay. So the website. This is where you can. And thanks. I know Kimmy. I'll just move around here. I'll stand here for you. So I do want to thank Kimmy and Juice. They live stream this for us, and then they also save it. And then my son goes in there and sets the link up, so y'all can actually go see this anytime or send it to anybody that y'all want to go take a look at it. They save it on there, and then we have the link for it. But anyway, register at huntcountyeda.com. Real simple, huntcountyeda for Economic Development Alliance.com. Go in there and register, and if you do, then you'll get an email of any events we have coming up. No spam stuff, just the events that come up, I promise. Because I'm the one that usually sends out the emails, and I don't have time for it. But our next event that we do have coming up is on March the 22nd at 6 o'clock. It's going to be at the GMA. Kevin, thanks for getting that set up for us. And it's going to be our beloved tax appraiser, Mr. Brett South, going to talk about what's going on with the tax appraisal board in the district, what's going on for the district. So we usually try to do these once a quarter, but he came into our last meeting and said, I really think we better get out there and talk about this. So we set it up. Yeah, perfect timing. It's free. There's not going to be any food or anything like that, right, Brent? It's more of an educational type deal. And once again, it's March the 22nd at 6 o'clock at the GMA. So just show up. I don't think we need to register either, right? You can't, no registration button, no nothing. Just show up. Okay, that'd be a good one to go to. We've got a few other things, but we haven't got them confirmed yet. So I'm not going to talk about them until we get them confirmed. We got to get some votes in place, and we'll do that. But I want to give, if y'all could, please give a good applause for all the candidates that showed up today and being on time, which is absolutely amazing. So I don't think we're having any problem getting out of here at 1 o'clock, other than what y'all want to do on the Q&A stuff. If there's any more, Greg? Any more Q&A?
I don't have any, but you probably have enough time for
Yeah.
questions from the audience.
Yeah, well, let me get these three taken care of, and then if y'all do have some questions for the audience, then y'all pop on here and we're good. I'm actually going to be on top of my point. Okay, this is for the state office candidates. So if y'all want to come up, I don't know if y'all want to answer, how y'all want to answer this one, but if state office candidates, you want to come up, here's the question. Do you support the idea of eliminating property taxes by gradually phasing them down to 0? And I'm going to add something else on here. If we do that, how are we going to get things taken care of? So whoever's in the state, come on up, and y'all can, I'll give you a minute or so to reply to that one. You're first up, so there you go.
I'll be first because I filed that legislation. So yes, I do support that. I filed it in my first session in the legislature. And then the follow-up question though is then, I mean, we still have to pay for stuff, right? And so the concept that has been most popularly supported as I've talked with people, and I would love to hear from you on this, but is to gradually replace it, to shift it over to a consumption type tax, like a sales tax, something like that. But I completely support that, and I'll follow it again.
All right, I have a question on that one. Sorry.
How about we let them in, and then let's do the question, and then if we got a reply, we'll do that one. How's that sound, Brother Greg?
Good.
You know, that's always a good idea to try to get the property tax as low as possible. 0 is what we should strive for. You know, someone who runs a business, though, the numbers have to add up. It has to add up. You know, you gotta hold your politicians accountable. If they come up here and just tell you that they're gonna bring it down to 0, you know, there has to be alternatives for it. You know, consumption tax is a good idea. You know, if we need to like switch things to tolls, you know, that's something we can look at if we wanna balance that with property tax. But this has to be done very orderly and in phases, so we don't jeopardize any of our public services while we try to reach 0% property tax. You know, someone who runs a business, reality is much more important than trying to fit ideological purity. So 0% property tax is what we're gonna strive for, and we're gonna do it very responsibly.
All right. Go, brother. Come over here in front of the camera. There you go.
All right, yay. Okay. Well, when I first declared, I told everybody I am for the elimination of property tax. Since then, and it has not changed, I still think that we need to eliminate property tax, but I have a concern. One of the number one things that I think that people want to always talk about is we need to replace it with a consumer tax. And here's my concern. My concern is right now, our sales tax is at what, 6.25, is that right?
8 point.
Oh, it's 8, okay, so it's even higher, okay. And so once that happens, if we transition over to that, what happens with inflation? Those lower income families are gonna struggle, they're gonna suffer. Right now, I make $38,000 a year as a minister. Would anybody in here like to say that that's a huge salary? Nobody? I didn't think so. It's not a lot. Now with inflation, when things go up, your dollar is worth less, right? And so you're buying more expensive items. So the concern is what do we replace it with? So yes, we do need to replace or eliminate property tax, but we have to be smart about how we do it. So transitioning into something going over time is the smart move. Okay, so yes, I think that answers the question.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother.
I generally support taxing economic activity and not economic outcomes. But there is one thing to really think about when you eliminate property taxes. Your local government, your school districts, all that, they depend on property taxes. That's the basis that they get the overwhelming majority of their revenue. And I doubt there are many localities in Texas, especially in Hunt County, who want to be dependent on Austin to give them their fair share or their allotment of tax money. I think that's a real issue. In terms of taxing consumption, that's good in theory, but the devil is in the details. That's more like a value-added tax that they have in other countries. I think an alternative that merits some consideration would be to tax transactions. What I think is important to remember is our tax system was created in the late 1800s when we could track property. There was a public record of property. Now, with computers and data processing, we can count transactions. We can account for transactions. Imagine if you applied a very tiny rate to each transaction, and you multiply that by what, 1 billion transactions a day that occurs in Texas. How much money would that generate? So yes, I support taxing economic activity rather than economic outcomes, but the devil's in the details, and one of the big details is how do you finance local governments, including your school district, your county, and your city? Thank you.
Greg, you said you want to expand on that question?
Just a real quick expansion on that. So everybody always talks about the total tax picture. I think a good place to start is where the lion's share of the property tax problem is on us as residents, and is the school tax. School tax is 2/3 of our tax bill. And we all know that we have a public school system that spreads the dollars out all over the state. There is a split on that tax rate between the M&O, maintenance operation, and debt, as you know. The debt side of that tax rate is usually the lowest number. It's usually around between 10 to 30 cents on the dollar value. The M&O tax rate is about 90 to $1.10 across the state. The state school system collects $50 billion to spread apart around school districts that are rich, school districts that are poor, the allocation. $50 billion on that $1.10 basically rate. So I think a good place to start is on the M&O rate. Start there first. It's 2/3 of our tax bill, and residents across the board, we can help them. Maybe that $50 billion gets reduced to maybe $20 billion. I don't have the number, but that's where the state can then look to replace the revenue purely on the $20 billion by maybe consumption tax or another tax that's fair across the board. But I think that's an initial place to start, is on our state school system. And then you don't have to worry about messing with the debt rate, because the debt rate is local. The debt rate is local and it pertains to bonds. So bonds that have been sold, they're already committed with that debt rate, you don't mess with that. You just look at the M&O rate. I just want a question to the panel if that makes sense.
So also, Brent, is that something, as far as the breakdown and stuff, are you getting any of that at all, or are you just gonna talk about appraisals in that March meeting?
I'm just gonna be talking about appraisal.
Appraisal, okay. All right, so we'll start backwards, so you can go first this time. So try to get about a 30-second spot to that one, I'll get to the next question.
I understand where you're coming from, but I believe the legislature is going to have to revisit school finance in its entirety in the next 1 or 2 legislative sessions. HB 3, which was passed in 2019, is not sustainable. It's just not a sustainable product. Property rates, property values are going up so high, so fast, that the state does not have enough revenue to offset that. So yeah, I think you have a good idea, but I think it needs to be done in the context of revisiting how Texas finances public education. We're 46th in the nation, and that's a bad place to be, especially if we want to have the workforce of the future.
And I'll take you up on going in reverse order.
There you go. Oh, you listen, there you go. Go ahead. Yeah.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm up, okay. Well, I think if I'm right, I think my understanding of this is you're saying you need to reduce the taxes from the schools. And I don't know if this is gonna be the popular answer or not, but I don't believe in taking money away from our schools. And I will never agree to take money away from our schools because, and especially in these small towns where we're from, our schools are the cornerstone of many of our communities. We look forward to our Friday night games, and I just can't see us taking money away from them. Do I think that it's fair that the only people that are paying the taxes on that are the land and homeowners? No, I don't. And that's why I am for elimination of property tax. But we still have to do a transition into a smoother transition into some other form of taxation that is not, has anyone heard the term bait and switch? We don't want to bait and switch, okay? We want to safeguard those, the people that are buying the property. We want to safeguard the mom and pops that are being pushed out by higher appraisal rates, and then, well, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, and so that's where I'm at with it. I will never take money away from public schools, and anybody who's for that is, if you're for that, I'm not your guy. I'm just gonna let you know.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I've looked into this quite a bit, especially the whole situation, Robin Hood. There's no easy answer to this. A lot of people just come up here and tell you stuff. If they could have, the politicians would have solved this a long time ago. Bottom line is, we gotta take care of the counties and the areas that are not having as much tax generation. We have to, okay? Now, what we need to agree on is what is gonna be the standard of education that we need to fund it for. Because in a lot of the urban areas, property prices are skyrocketing, a lot of the suburban areas. That doesn't necessarily correlate with the population growth in the smaller districts. However, we need to fund the schools adequately for everyone here. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, that's completely irrelevant. We're gonna take care of everybody here, and there's enough money to do that. So, I think you hit the nail on the question there, is that, we're always talking about how to drop the rate down, but at a certain point, we have to start looking at spending too.
Oh, Angela?
Well, I sat on the property tax committee when we passed that legislation, and that SB2, which was just a categorical revamp of our school finance system, which did just happen. I will say, clearly, it's something that we have to stay on top of on an ongoing basis. And especially in a place like Hunt County that's undergoing a lot of growth. So your needs are different, right? You do have a lot of facilities and all that you've got to invest in. I think at the end of the day, what I care about as a teacher is one of the things that we were able to accomplish in that legislation that I am 100% committed to, and that is that we make sure that when the state is sending money to schools, that it's going primarily to teachers. The two great drivers of student achievement are great teachers and engaged parents. And when we talk about the schools having money, we have to remember there is no school money, there is no state money. There's just our money. All of that money is our money, whether it goes through sales tax, whether it goes through property tax, through individual private property owners or businesses. And that's a huge challenge in a place like Hunt County that's growing. And you're trying to attract people. I talked with the mayor just the other day about 313 agreements. And I think part of the reason that has come so under fire is because it's been abused in certain parts of our state. I think if we've got to give cities and counties and school districts economic tools to create the kind of system that will really educate kids. That's our future, that's our workforce, and we can't do it without taking care of those. I will also say, as I'm walking the mic over to you.
You're still on camera, video.
You know, we have to think about what does it mean to educate. And I think we are now at a place, and I'm hearing it, and I bet you are too, parents have seen kind of a new level of transparency in schools. And I think that we are in a place where parents want more choices. And that's important. If we create more choices within the public school system, it will also affect the cost of educating.
And then she can talk more time about that afterwards. Okay, thank y'all. Y'all can go ahead and
Sit down before I
go
talk
back to
some
you
more.
talking more into it. I got a yes/no question first.
One second, real quick. Senator Paxton recognized Mayor Rankin. He's here. Mayor Rankin, Greenville, right here. So.
Hey, good job. Hey, this is a simple question for the county clerk. So if y'all two want to come up here, I think this is a yes/no question. So maybe y'all know the answer to this. Kelly. All right. The question is, y'all come over here so y'all get in the camera, I guess. The question is, do we charge for veterans to file their DD-214s for their families to have easy access when the veterans need to be buried? Y'all know that answer? You don't know you happen to know that one? Oh, well, there you go.
We do, my office does allow them to come get their DD-214s, and we provide that free of charge. And that is something that we do in our office for the veterans.
Oh, there
Do
you
you
go.
also file it free of charge?
Yes, we do.
Thank you, that's all I need.
Oh, there you go. Well done. All right, I figured that would be it. So this next question is going to be a little bit different. If the congressional folks can come up here, this one ought to be interesting to see how y'all go into this one. All right. So come on up. Okay, here's the question. All right. So and how about y'all? So how about y'all try to take about a minute, and that'll give us 5 minutes, and then we can open the floor a little bit. All right. Where in the U.S. Constitution does it say the health and welfare of the people are the responsibility of the federal government? So who wants to take that first?
I'll go first.
All right. There you go. A minute. Try to keep it at a minute.
I'm not gonna take that long.
All right. Good.
The people do not realize that the government was put in place to do the things for you that you cannot do for yourself. Okay? That's what government was put in place for. So if you cannot do your health care, well then government should provide it. If you cannot fix your grid, then the government should do it. If you cannot heat your house, maybe the government should do it. But government was put in place to do the things for you that you cannot do for yourself, okay?
So some are the basic things and which are the rights for every citizens. Like if you cannot take care of your health, yes, the system should take care of you because you are a voter as well as a citizen of that country. So I'm from the background where the government gives a lot of facilities to the people who needs it, and I support that values also here also, because everybody is a human and everybody should get their rights.
The only time the word welfare is used in the Constitution is to provide for the general welfare. Healthcare is not in the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution is a limiting document, limiting on federal government. It does not limit state governments outside of what the delegated powers are. In fact, they're reserved for the states and the people. The U.S. Constitution is a limiting document on the federal government. It's a difference in worldview that you just heard. General welfare is not included, does not include health care beyond what we as Americans, as humanitarians, think of as the safety net. Thank you.
I'll be even more brief, it doesn't. So my goal for you and my goal for me, let me give you just a really short real world example. When I was homeschooling Blake, Haley, Jonathan, and Thomas, I wanted the federal government out of my life. When I went to the grocery store during the middle of the day, I didn't want somebody to stop and say, she's truant with her children. I wanted to teach them about our Lord and Savior without having the federal government tell me what I could and could not do. So the federal government is there to protect our borders from an invasion and do the things that the states cannot do, right? But I promise you, if you are left to run your own life, you will do far better than the federal government could ever do for you.
All right, let's while they're up here, we do have, it's 5 till 1, so I did promise to get y'all out of here at 1 o'clock. So is there any questions from the audience to address the congressional side of things here? Anybody got any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is one that relates back to the airfields that was mentioned. It's a question I asked about 4 years ago at the transportation meeting in Commerce and got talked down on. If you're looking at expanding the airports here to the east of Dallas because of the expansion growth, are we talking about expansion for commercial freight coming in, or are you looking at a combination of freight and passenger?
I think you're the one that brought that up. You want to address that one real quick?
Sure.
You okay if you just address that one?
Sure.
You all right with that?
It depends on what Hunt County decides. I will tell you a multimodal facility would be freight. But if you are outside, you actually have an advantage over the McKinney Airport, which was designed and built as supposedly the third major airport in the DFW area, after obviously DFW and Love Field. The problem with it is it's right on the edge of the airspace that's governed by DFW. Your airports are outside of that airspace, and that's an advantage. So it depends on what you need. But if I was talking about multimodal, which would be basically freight, rail, air, and road, that's a tremendous asset from the economic development. If you're talking about passenger service, that's something that McKinney Airport has wrestled with for decades. And that's a much more complex situation that will require a lot of federal input. So it depends on what Hunt County decides you want.
All right, that's good.
Because with the airports, it is something that I did bring up, coming from England and London,
Right.
where you've got a major metroplex area, with the expansion that's going on across the whole of this area.
All right.
There will be a need for another passenger airport.
Let's get, next question. You have a question? Oh, real quick.
Thank you guys so much for your honesty on a very difficult question. I just appreciate the fact that you spoke from your hearts about what you believe.
Yeah, it's nice to have the truth come out for how y'all feel, whether we agree or not. All right, any other congressional questions? And then I'll open the floor to any state questions, and then we'll get to the county if y'all have any more. We got 3 minutes left. Any more congressional? All right, let's give another good applause for the congressional folks coming up. All right, any questions for the state officials? Anybody out there? Oh, Ms. Horn, what you got there?
I don't have a question.
You don't have a question? Well, then sit back down, Julie.
I'm sponsoring Clyde Bostic in his race, and I was wanting to invite everybody next Thursday, which is February 10th, between 4:30 and 6. I'm hosting a meet and greet to get to know Clyde and his platform a lot better. This is an amazing man, has amazing purpose and vision that I believe in, and I would love for you all to come by and see him. It's going to be held, everybody knows where Glenda's is on Bolton, right? Okay, there's a new little event center right next to that, a couple doors down.
All right.
That's where we'll be.
So we can stick around and do all that y'all want to do every evening. I hear you. All right, any questions for the state officials before we, all right, any questions for the county side? Man, this is awesome. All right, what you got?
It's just another one. I mean, we go back, I heard a lot about the removal of property taxes. If you remove property taxes, then you have to look at an increase in taxation elsewhere.
So, if anybody want to have some more conversation on taxation, y'all, once again, let's just give one more last applause for all these folks. Y'all, I think most of them are going to hang around. So some of them have some booths over there. If y'all want to come talk to them, they'll be hanging around and asking questions. Greg, got one last thing to close out?
One last thing. This is a very difficult job to be an MC, but give Paul a hand.
Good job. So one more plug for Hunt County Economic Development Line, huntcountyeda.com. Put it on there so that I don't have to figure out a way to get a hold of you. All right, y'all have a good day. God bless you. God bless Texas.